Hey, it's Hillary. I am thrilled to celebrate with you the 100th episode for Hill Talks Momentum in Midlife podcast. And celebration is super important, and also feeling love. Can you feel the love? Do you remember, can you feel the love tonight from The Lion King, right? Well, I have. I've truly felt love. The love from a parent, from a child, a sibling, a dear, dear friend. Sometimes love is all you need. And maybe it's all you desire, but occasionally love is just not enough. Back in February, there was so much talk about love, pink and red roses, chocolate. Well, we can't limit or fault chocolate or getting dragged down into a self-limiting belief of the construct of the marketing extravaganza that was Valentine's Day. But feeling love is important. And for me, I know it's important that we bring love to the important people in our lives every single day. Am I alone in this? Anybody else there with me? How do you feel the love in your life? Sometimes we talk about Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, and there are 5 kinds of typical ways that we receive love. And that might be physical touch, affection. It might be quality time, creating a memory together, quality conversation. It might be the giving of a gift or receiving a gift. It might be acts of service, helping around the house, doing favors for someone, making their life easier. And what is that 5th one? Sometimes those things are elusive. So, how do you receive love? And Dr. Chapman will tell us that we often give love to others as we want to receive it. But in the celebration, I have to think about how am I loving myself? And it can start as simple as with what I'm about to eat or drink. Is that a loving act for myself? Is there an emotion that I'm trying to numb instead of feel it and let it flow through its full course? Like an example, if I'm emotional and I've just made a 9 by 13 of brownies, I can eat so many of them. And is that loving? Maybe in the moment it tastes good because I have a positive association with brownies. But in the end, whether hours or a few days later, do I feel good eating that? Do I drink enough water and hydrate? So I had to learn a lot about, and I'm still learning about loving myself. And I spent most of 2023 trying to face all those fears and see what is truly loving to myself: the movement, the exercise, the self-talk, the eating, the hydration, and connecting with others. Because it's really easy for me, at least, to get stuck in my own head. And I think that there are best steps for me to feel more love in my life. And I think there are some that could provide value for you. And if you just look at what's the easiest one thing to change, something that takes less than 5 minutes a day, and it might be getting a glass of water. It might be choosing a glass that you love the feel of, that you like how your lips feel when it's touching the rim. And whether it's drinking coffee or just something you love to drink water out of. I have a family member that has this super bone china, and she has her coffee in it every day. And I thought, oh, that's so fancy. But then I thought, yeah, why not? Why are we not drinking out of the fancy china or the fine crystal and doing those beautiful things? So start small. For movement, we are moving less. And you're going to hear in an upcoming episode where I talk to Kimra here. And she started Olympic competitive weightlifting levels. And after the age of 55, and she had an illness that was wreaking havoc on her body. And in 10 minutes a day, she is showing us that you can make a change in your body. And even if you're walking outside, start with 10 minutes. Can you do 10 minutes a day, 7 days a week? that's a small ask, right? You can listen to your favorite podcast, you can talk to a friend or family member, but getting outside and unplugging is a key thing. In fact, sometimes I listen to my favorite podcast. And if Hill Talks Momentum in Midlife is one of your favorites, I hope you'll share it and tell somebody. You can listen to this on the go. You can watch over on YouTube. All those things are possible. And I have another option for you. If you're already drinking your water, if you're already getting 20 minutes of movement a day, and then maybe you need more stillness and silence and less screens and less doing. 5 minutes a day. Could you be intentionally still, eyes closed, 5 minutes a day? And I did a podcast on how to start your day out great. And I guide you through that, how to get present in your body, how to breathe through and imagine that you're just inviting all this love from maybe the top of your head down to your toes and fingertips so that you're just feeling that. Well, I wanted to celebrate that this is the 100th episode, and I can't believe it. I don't think I knew how much work would go into creating and sustaining a podcast. I don't know if I knew how much joy I would get out of not just talking to you, but also interviewing the guests. And it's more comfortable to have a conversation with someone than just to be on this side of the camera or microphone and talking to you. But it has brought me a greater sense of purpose and joy. And I think I'm going to keep going. I think I shared, and maybe you listened to this episode when I talked about how at first I thought I have to produce one every week. And I was obsessed and stuck in perfection on the editing process. And I could spend 10 and 12 hours editing one episode. And what that really informed was that I was avoiding feeling something, or I was stuck in fear. And if it wasn't perfect, would anybody listen? Well, the truth is, I'm not perfect anyway. So what if I just let that go and try to produce something that has content, has value, and can move forward? I am in the process of editing my first book and sending it to the professional editor. And that's what I've learned, is that reaching out for others' help is an essential part of loving ourselves. Because if we think that all of the weight and the responsibility and the burdens are on our shoulders, we're just not meant to do these things on our own. So I hope you feel encouraged today. I learned that I need to love myself in a tangible way. And it starts with the hydration and the water. It starts with nutritional eating. I haven't even finished my breakfast, but I've got some avocado toast, some eggs with some scrambled vegetables that have been roasted with it. And being okay with loving myself when I'm alone, when I'm moving, but also when I'm still. And as someone with ADHD, it is not easy to practice stillness, because even when my body is still, as a woman, my mind is always racing. But here's what I know for sure. We can cultivate any of these practices. We can develop them as small habits, as James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits, that what can you commit to 5 minutes a day? One thing. And his example was, if you drive to the gym, you get out, you spend 5 minutes there, even if you don't do anything, you get in the car and you drive home. You're starting to build that habit. For some of us, it might only take a few days. For some, it might take 3 weeks. For some people, it might take months. It depends on how much of a change that new habit is in our routine. So I hope you feel encouraged that you can feel the love, that you can and should be encouraged, and that you can move forward. If you feel stuck, I get it. You know, I do open the membership every month. I'm trying to keep it simple. Once a month, the second Monday of the month, and there's 2 time slots. Some members will be military affiliated. You might be active duty, former active duty. You might be a military spouse or a former spouse. You might be someone who is married, separated, or divorced. You might be someone who is starting your own business, or you're working, or you want to pivot careers. There is support in here for when women get together and have meaningful conversations. That makes all the difference. And it's normal to feel uncomfortable, but I assure you that as facilitator, my job is to help you feel more comfortable. And if you have the courage just to show up, I can guarantee you will feel better about yourself and your life after just one session. So I hope you'll join us. I'll put details in the notes. Thanks so much. This is Hillary Baggett with Hill Talks Momentum in Midlife podcast. I hope you know that you're not alone. Let's move forward together.